Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. It is, let me see if I get this right. It's Monday, February 7th, 2022. I got it right. And you are listening or watching another episode of Black Mental Wealth. This is something we started right before the holidays with Jelani Lynch and also Naisha Deed of Pure Spark, Jelani Lynch of Ambition to the City. And what Black Mental Wealth is all about is really discussing the mentality needed behind us obtaining wealth. We understand here in the city of Boston that for Black and brown folks, the average wealth is about $8. And that is terrible. And so we curated this conversation to talk about Black mental wealth. We're going to ask you if you know an entrepreneur, if you know a creative, if you know of someone that's thinking about starting their own business, you need to really tell them to get ready to tap in, because what you're getting today, this brother could really send you, me, the invoice for the information he's going to share and just about his journey in being a business mentor. And so from this theme, Black Mental Wealth, I would like to introduce to some and present to others a good brother in the person of Royce Veal, who is a business mentor. And I've heard of them before, but they're usually associated with folks, you know, corporations or whatever. And so you are a Black man that's a business mentor. We're going to hear more about that. But before we get into the business, man, I have to ask you, as a Black man, you know, how you doing, brother? We know it's Mental Health Mondays in the morning, so let's check in and see how you're doing as Royce.
Mentally, I am there. I feel like I have a really good support system behind me, keeping me motivated and letting me know that, Royce, you're on the right path. Keep going. Royce, there are people watching. You're doing a heck of a job. Keep going. You know, those words of affirmation and that inspiration from others, you know, it doesn't go overlooked. I had somebody message me today, and, you know, a random person, and, you know, they say, yo, good job. I appreciate everything that you got going on. I love what you're doing. Love the value that you bring. Like, keep going. We need those.
Bro, listen, okay, so let's jump right in. Let's back up a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because for you to be able to say we need those indicates to me that there was a journey that you were on where you didn't have that. And so, like, how did you, first of all, how old are you? Where you from? Give us a little quick 30-second bio of who Royce is.
Again, Royce Veal, born and raised Dorchester, Mass. You know, went to Boston Public School Systems. Went to Dorchester High, ended up transferring, went out to school out in Lexington called Minuteman. And that's honestly where I learned a bulk of my information, because it was a trade school. Me not having access to Madison Park because of a long wait list. This is when Madison Park was like the place to be at. Now, you know, it's tough to get kids into that school. And that's where I learned a lot of my entrepreneurship skills and along my journey. And I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of good mentors around me.
Okay.
A lot of different men that came into my life and just showed me different ways to go about things. And the biggest person to do that has definitely been my father. You know, He's been a big role and played a big role in my life and continues to play a big role. We talk just about every day, you know, about business, about, you know, me giving him advice and he's giving me advice. You know, it's crazy when you get to a certain age, you know, and you start to give older people advice, the ones that are open to hearing and listening, because they know how important and how valuable information is. And, you know, there is no age that can dictate, you know, or there is no experience that could dictate who knows more than who. You know, you can always constantly learn from somebody, you know, so that's very important. You know, so I've been fortunate to be able to grow up in Boston, play basketball throughout the city, played in, just about every basketball tournament out there. I still play basketball, and me being able to take my hobby of basketball and transition that into a business has been really good to me and my team that actually helped put that together, which is the Next Level Factory brand, which is one of the biggest brands that I'm currently known for right now, along with my team. So, just a kid from Boston playing basketball, doing business things.
So that is a background of who you are. And shout out to your dad. I remember him growing up. Shebu Days had the spot right there on Blue Hill, the auto repair or auto body,
Yep.
or it was actually was it a dealership? It was a couple of things.
Yeah, it was an auto body shop. They had the dealership right out in front. Yep.
Yep. So shout out to him, man. And so how old are you? Because we did talk in the beginning a little bit about there are some younger brothers of which I can glean, some things from. And so I agree, being an old head, there's some 20-year-olds, some 30-year-olds from which I still glean some things from. So how old are you being a business mentor? How old, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 33 years old.
Okay.
And with that, within my 33 years, I have 18 years of entrepreneurship.
So, okay. So you started at 15.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, can we just pause for a minute? For those of you that are watching and may not be listening, this brother has the full beard, about my complexion, and you said 33. So I just thought about Jesus because you're giving very Jesus right now. No, I just had to highlight that, man. But listen, 18,
Jesus, yeah.
listen, but don't let's not go there because that's a whole different section in itself. But 18 years, brother. So you're basically at a point of, because 18 is the legal age or whatever. So you're at a point of maturity in your entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I'm right there.
And so
Right.
and you
Crazy.
say that with confidence. And so as a 33-year-old, tell us a little bit about, well, let me back up a little bit. When you first heard me introduce you and invite you into a space where we talk about Black mental wealth, what were your thoughts? Like, what did you think what I meant by that? Or what are your thoughts around the term Black mental wealth?
My thoughts around the term, just my own opinion, the the mental piece that a lot of people are missing, which has value to it. So when we talk about wealth, we tend to uh, relate it to value or being of some monetary value.
Yep.
And I the mental piece is one of the pieces that we lose sight of and don't realize how valuable that particular piece is, and how it can actually help you generate financial freedom, understanding your mental, understanding your emotional intelligence. Um, and that's my thoughts about it. And I'm a firm believer that like I said it before, like you need a good group of people around you that's going to help support you mentally, spiritually, whatever it is to help push you along your journey. It's tough. It's tough, especially being a city kid, especially being a young brother or brother. Period. It's tough out there. So it's very important. So that's why I was excited to be a part of this conversation. And to enlighten people too, just about my entrepreneurship journey and what it took me and the mindset and the journey and the struggles and how to
Bro.
push through. Like it's all important. They all correlate.
So I love how you describe that. I might have to extract some of the video and type some of that out because
Yeah, take that. That's all you.
listen, there's different perspectives that have come into the room around Black mental wealth. Naisha talked real strongly about mental health, and then Jelani was talking about wealth. And so when you talk about a mindset as being an entrepreneur, Royce, like what type of, if there were 3 words I would ask you to use that describe the mindset needed to go into entrepreneurship, what are the top 3 words that come to your mind? I heard team, I heard passion, but what's the mindset needed?
Yeah, the mindset. You really have to have a growth mindset.
Okay.
Willing to grow and growing as a person, growing mentally as an individual. Um, if you're all about growth, I think that's what it's going to take. Now, there's a lot of other things that it takes to be an entrepreneur, not just to be an entrepreneur, but to be a successful one.
Yeah.
So, being a leader, like, having a leadership mindset, like, um, those are very, very important to me. And without leadership, it's tough because a lot of people think that they could go on this journey alone and they can't. You can't do it alone. No matter how much you've gone through, No matter how big and bad you think you are, no matter how much money you got, you can't do it alone. You need other people to fill in those roles. So outside of a growth mindset, you have to have a courageous mindset. You know, there's so many different words that you could put with mindset,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
agree.
So you have to
And
be courageous. You can't be scared to do certain things. You can't be worried about other people's opinions because it may not fit well or it may not sit well with them. Are you courageous enough to say the things that you say? Are you courageous enough to stand behind what you believe in, whether it's a product or a service? You know, those are some key points that, a lot of people take for granted. And a big one for me is a learning mindset.
yeah.
Yes, I learning. Yeah, yeah, is a learning mindset. The willingness to learn.
So you talked about that a few minutes ago. It's not restricted to age. It's not restricted to gender. It's not restricted to race. And so you said growth, being courageous, and learning
Yep.
and having a team. And you're
Yep.
talking to someone
Human
who
leadership.
and leadership and leadership. And so you're talking to someone who literally for over a year, I had, folks helping out, but in the ultimate, I did try to function literally as a one man show.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from I can attest to the fact that when you get a team, it does help. It
Yeah.
does definitely help. And so another piece I heard from you was accountability,
Mhm.
that you have a team around you that hold you accountable. They support you spiritually and mentally. Go a little bit deeper into the team. Like, did you just hire people? Was there folks that were with you from day one? Like, what for you? How was your team constructed? Because I think for everybody, it's a little obviously it's a little bit different. But how did you get your team to a point where you kind of sit back and you're cool and let them do what they do?
Honestly, to have a good team behind you, you really have to show that you're truly invested in yourself and what you're doing. And then people just start to gravitate towards that. Now, with me, with my initial businesses, I've always had people that were in alignment. So between my brother and friends, they were in alignment of the same goal, which was to be successful, whatever that meant, whether it's helping people, whether it's generating money, we all were in alignment in doing that particular duty. Now, as I move further along my journey, as I grow into my years, I got to a point where people see what I'm doing and they want to be a part of it. So now they just want to be a part of the team in some way, shape, or form. Now, there are people that I hire for certain tasks because I feel like they're proficient in those areas. So I would hire them. Even mentors, like I hire mentors. Even like I'm a business mentor, but I hire other mentors, or I have other mentors that I rely on. So for me, it's a people gravitating towards me because they see the consistency in what I'm doing. They see the value in what I'm doing, and they see that I have the potential to be successful and whatever it is in their minds, whether it's some type of celebrity or whatever it is, they see like, yo, there's potential. I want to be a part of this. I want to get on the ground level. Whatever you need, I want to be in. And they just give that energy off, but they do it because of how consistent I am.
So consistency attracts those that want to invest time, passion, and skill sets. And so
And money.
and yeah, I was going to mention that, but forgot real quick because a lot of times, and I guess premised on what you were talking about, that a lot of times when we talk about wealth or investment, we do think about money. But I think you because of your experience can really appreciate some of that in kind investments that is made. See, you smile. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about that for
It's
2 seconds.
information.
Yeah. Well, there's yeah, that is in kind, but like something that you don't pay for, some of those things are not tangible. And so what are those kind of things that an entrepreneur, a business person needs that aren't tangible? Like I'll say one, maybe start with like
Mhm.
trusting the process or the mentors. Like what are the non-tangible investments that you talk that helped you?
Me believing in myself, me being self motivated.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship, you have to be self-motivated. If you're not self-motivated, it's going to be really, really hard because then you're dependent on other people to push you.
Yeah.
If you don't, you really have to love yourself and trust yourself and know that you're going to give it all in whatever it is that you do. If you stay true to that, you're going to see success. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't have my moments because we all do as entrepreneurs.
We're human. Yeah. Yeah.
Human. We get emotional, we get fatigued, we just don't want to do things anymore, and we're all entitled to those days. But now I challenge everybody when I talk to them. When you have that thought and you say like, "Yo, I just don't feel like doing this today," let that be a trigger word for you. Let that trigger your actions to say, "Wait, I just said I don't feel like doing this. Let me get up and do it," instead of just soaking in it.
So you fight through it with, and there are various things that lead to not wanting to do it. Lower orders than you expected, to
Mhm.
meetings that got canceled that you prepared for. And so what I just heard from you was a mentality thing of fighting through either the disappointment. And so
Major.
okay, how do you do it when that happens? As you've been transparent, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
Have you give us an example of when you've had to tell yourself, "Yo, I don't feel it. I'm pissed, I'm tired, but I got to do it."
Um, just to what you said, when you're not getting bookings, when you're not getting people to buy your products, when you're not getting people to purchase your service, when people don't show up to your events, like we've all been there
Absolutely.
in
Yep.
entrepreneurship. Like you've been in there in some way, shape, or form. So with everything that you do, you have to build out a strategy.
Okay.
Now, with the strategy, there's three parts to it. There's a beginning piece, there's a middle piece, and there's an end piece.
Mhm.
Now, the beginning, that's your goals that you're setting up for yourself. The middle, that is the plan to execute your goals.
Yep.
The end, that's your results.
Okay.
Now, the good thing, if you take that strategy and you break it down like that, you know that based off of the way you executed your plan to achieve your goals, that was the results that you got. Now, if those results don't turn out the way that you want it to be, what do? You go back to the middle. You don't have to start back at the beginning. You go back to the middle, you change a couple things to get a different result.
So you have to be flexible?
You got to be flexible and understand that everything, just like in life, everything doesn't go as planned. So it's more so, how do you pivot?
Yeah.
If you
Moving
learn how to
parts. Yeah.
pivot, if you learn how to pivot, you'll be able to get through anything. And that's what we talk about. I think I just posted it. We talk about failures. Failures aren't failures. Failures are lessons learned.
Bro,
So
listen.
if you continue to live for failure, which we're considering to be lessons learned, you're going to see success.
Mm.
Because the more lessons you learn along your journey, you know what mistakes to make, you know what mistakes not to make.
And I can tell you from experience, a lot of times some young people or different folks will say, "Yo, I appear to be successful in doing this or other stuff." And I tell them all the time, "Bro, my most experience is from falling flat on my face, bro." And finally, after the third time, you look up and you're like, "Okay, I don't want to see this concrete anymore."
Right,
And so, what I heard from you there was being flexible doesn't necessarily mean failure.
right.
Okay.
Exactly. It's okay. It's okay to go back to the middle, go back to the drawing board and say, all right, that didn't work out. What else can I do? So let's say you had a couple interviews lined up. I've gone through this already.
Yep.
Couple interviews lined up and people weren't as serious as I thought they were.
Mhm.
They're like, oh yeah, like we gotta switch the day, we gotta switch the day. And I'm like, I'm only gonna switch the day with you so many times because I find my time to be valuable.
Mhm.
And if we don't start to cherish other people's time, if we don't put a value on other people's time, then we're doing them a disservice. We're doing ourselves a disservice.
Let's go there a little bit. Time, because I'm going to be very transparent and honest with you. Me and time are not good friends. We're
Yeah.
just, I deal with sometimes procrastination and prioritizing.
Mhm.
And so, can you talk a little bit about how valuing your own time may help you value somebody else's time just a little bit more if you're valuing yours, because I'll say we often we waste a lot of time, or we get distracted and then we're down a rabbit hole and we lost 2 hours in something that just popped up. So
Right.
can you talk a little bit about time?
Yeah, even when you talk about time, or even when you use certain verbiage, don't say that you and time aren't best friends. Say that I'm looking to improve and be better with my time.
Words matter. Thank you, sir.
Doesn't
Check.
matter, because you start speaking that into existence, and then time really don't be your best friend. Time really don't be on your side.
Ooh, thank you. Ouch. Thank you.
So we
Ouch.
want to manifest any bad things.
Yes, sir.
So let's check out verbiage there,
Yep.
and that's how you continue to move forward. Now, the value of time, taking your own time, you got to understand. Everybody knows we're guaranteed one thing in this world, one thing in this life, and that's death.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So every moment is precious. Now, if you're not taking these moments serious, you got to start to think about, what legacy am I leaving behind?
Mm.
If I was going tomorrow, what are people going to remember me for? What impact did I have on this world? What impact did I have on this community?
Yep.
Did I do all that I can? Did I live in my purpose? If you can't answer those questions, you're wasting your time.
So I don't know, and you probably, because you're busy. I want you to go back and, if you can, watch this morning's or last night's. I had a session last night and we talk about death, and we've been dealing with a lot of that. And at some point, I maybe you or someone else, but we need to talk about estate planning and things like that for our seniors and family members. But we did talk about death. But sir, you affirmed something that we talked about. It was either last night and this morning about legacy. You know what I mean? And so
Legacy,
that
legacy.
legacy is huge. And so I know, for those that are watching, I've taken this brother a few places, because you all know I respond organically in real time. And as he's talking, I'm like, okay. So you talked about time and you talked about legacy, and when we talk about wealth, and we're getting toward 1:30. So when we talk about wealth in the black and brown, well, let's just say black community, what grade would you give us when we talk about wealth legacy? Now, with all that we deal with and limitations, but we also prioritize certain things in areas to spend our money. And so, what grade would you give generally on us, wealth and legacy? And then, what is the mentality needed to have a better wealth legacy?
I think today's world,
Yep.
I'm gonna give it about a B.
Really, in the
Because,
black community?
in the black community,
Yep.
because there's a lot more people buying houses. There's a lot more people starting businesses. You see what
Especially
I'm saying?
especially our queens. They're the top
Especially
rated
our
right now.
friends.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of light gets shined on the negative. We shine the light on a handful of people that's not doing anything. It's those three kids that live on the block that are always shooting that make it bad for the whole street.
Mm,
See what I'm saying?
yep.
It's like, yo, there's a lot of people out here buying houses, like buying real estate,
Yes, sir.
buying multifamilies, taking these classes, taking these financial literacy classes, getting mentors, opening and starting their businesses, working two jobs, looking to figure out how to invest their money into crypto. It's just that we don't acknowledge them enough.
Got you.
So I'm gonna give it a B, and I'm manifesting for an A plus plus plus, and I know it's there. Like, I have these monthly dinners, right? It's called Dinner with Bosses, and at these dinners is an opportunity for entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs to come sit down, and what we do, we talk about business. Now we talk about struggles, we talk about success, we talk about where we want to see improvement, we talk about our plans for the year, and then we get off into other topics, and the conversations are always so dope. Now, each dinner, I've had a group of between 10 and 15 different individuals. I've
I
hosted,
saw your face and I know what that statement means.
I've hosted 5 of those. You know
So
what I'm saying? So I'm seeing it from a different side when we
yeah,
talk about, where do we grade as far as legacy in the community? Where do we grade as far as wealth in the community? Because it's out there. People are doing these things. They're taking the steps. You know, some of them are, like I said, are taking the steps, so they're not quite there yet,
Yep.
but they're on the right path. Now, to come up with a plan. So I think you and I both were at Kurt's event, the Dropout Summit, right?
Yes, sir. Shout out to Kurt. Yes, sir.
Shout out to Kurt. And somebody in the audience, they stood up and they said, and it bothered me. They said, you know, black people don't want to pool their money together like the other races.
Yep. I remember that.
Remember that?
Yes.
So
it was a general statement.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, why is that always the topic of discussion? When the conversation should be, or my rebuttal is, what opportunity is somebody providing for everybody to pool their money into? Come on now. You got to give me an opportunity to make me say, like, all right, let me pull my money in there. But you're not giving me no opportunity. You're talking about a problem with no solution.
And then how are you presenting the opportunity? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. And that's the next thing. What opportunity are you presenting? Now, if you pull me to the side, so at Kurt's event, it might have been about 150 people, right? Something around there. Maybe a little bit more. Most of them were entrepreneurs. I could tell because of the guest speakers that were there. So most of them were entrepreneurs, right? As entrepreneurs, we are risk takers. So if you're in a room full of entrepreneurs, 150.
I think I know where you're going.
Now you present an opportunity like, yo, who got $1,000 today to invest into this project that me and such is doing? And it could be a building, a real estate opportunity. With your investment, you could own 0.5% of this building. That's 150,000. We said 150 people, right? That's 150,000 cash collectively. But who's giving the opportunity? Who's speaking opportunities? Nobody. People are talking about problems.
Yeah.
So therefore, when you're only talking about problems in a collective unit, it forces people, it puts people in position to continue to do their things as individuals, which is completely okay. But you can't talk about pooling if you're not giving me an opportunity.
So you can't talk about, okay, let's take it. You got a little preach to you here and there. So let's use an analogy. You can't put water in the pool if you haven't even built the pool.
Exactly.
You keep saying it's hot. You got concrete, you got the paint, you got the contractor, and all they're waiting for you to do is say, go. Royce, you today. Now, this is always for the community, but trust me, there was some nuggets that I'm taking up out of here today where I'm like, because I'll be very transparent. This is a new space. This just started as community and it's still community, but it's monetized. There are different things. And so I've heard some nuggets from you that God, and timing is everything, but I wish Dropout was like 1.5 years ago when I met you. Because shout out to Kurt again, and we got to give homage and do that networking. I met this brother. I've seen him around, but have met him and like got attracted to what he was doing, followed on IG, and I was like, yeah, we need to get this brother in the room. And so, and I'll be fully transparent. I'm reaching out to this brother and I'm going to check in with him about Java with Jimmy and my other business to get his perspective. And so again, you could have your 150,000 right now because you could send out invoices to folks that will watch, will go back and watch today because they got a lot of good nuggets. But the thing that I sense from you is, though you're a business in spaces like these, you don't mind sharing. But when it's going deeper, we need to hire this black man. So do me a favor, Royce. I'm going to talk for a couple of seconds, but in the private chat, can you type your website and your email, the best way you want to be contacted, because a few folks in the comments were reaching out and saying that they wanted to connect with you. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this was masterclass level information. So true. Salute to Young King. Continued blessings, little bro. Sean, you sounded like you my age, Jesus. But it is just, hold on. My husband is saying, I'm only as invested in you as much as you are invested. Listen, there's some nuggets in here, sir, that we really are going to make sure that, well, I'm going to go back and watch a couple of things. But listen, this is the website that you need to go and visit. and check out what Royce is doing. You can find out information there about the boss dinners. I'm going to come out to one. I'm still in my I'm slowly but surely coming out of my COVID bubble. But you know, once I feel completely good about it, I'm coming. I've seen footage of them and they're dope. And it's just, and here's the last thing. Circle. You got to be around like-minded people, correct? Not that you're high and mighty and grandiose, but you can't. Let's end out with that. We got about 6 minutes. I said about 1:30, but if you got a couple extra minutes, I'd appreciate it.
I got a few minutes, man. One of the biggest things, right? So, like, I've been fortunate to be able to work with a lot of youth and teens, right? And with me working with them, being able to teach them basketball early on, Sean Webb was one of my first mentors. You know, and he taught me about writing for grants and getting funding and teaching classes and pretty much going through that whole structure. And I've spent a lot of years devoted to helping youth and teens. So as I'm going on this entrepreneurship journey as a business mentor, I had to sit back and reevaluate. And I said to myself, I said, yo, Royce, you can't forget that people your age were once youth and teens that didn't get the guidance that they needed to be able to go on their journeys. So who's doing it for them? And I said to myself, like, yo, I could be that bridge that gap in those areas to fill this void for people that want to be in this space, people that want to be entrepreneurs, people that are looking to grow, people are looking to have their own, you know, like who's doing it for them? There's not a lot of people. There's really nobody out there that they feel like, okay, I know this person's reachable, I trust them, I seen them around, all of these different things. So now they're comfortable. Because there are a lot of people in this space where it's just not real. So you're like, yo, I don't know if I feel comfortable paying this person to teach me about this because I don't really know them. But when you have somebody like myself who's been involved with the community for as long as I've been involved with the community, for doing what I'm doing to be able to show the success. And then when you go to my websites and my profiles and you see like, yo, this matches what he's saying.
Oh yeah. I can
attest. What he's saying. There's no fall off.
And the thing for me is, and I'll be perfectly honest, and this isn't you, but we understand there's a saying, there are sayings around all social media and they do it for the gram and all this other stuff. So there was, before I knew you, your first impression was on the gram, to be honest, and it was dope. But what's even more dope, bro, is to hear you speak behind what the visual is, to hear the philosophy. I'll go as far as say the spirit behind, you know, this philosophy. So you did, and for folks that are seeing this scroll across the screen, he gave me the information. I'm the one that put in capital letters to hire him because I believe you will. This is an investment. This is definitely an investment. And so man, so I was intentional. I told him first couple of minutes before we started, I said, today's about them getting to know you. This will not be a first and last. Like I really would like to have you come back. We'll figure out a way to get some sponsorship so we can, you know, figure out a way to compensate you. But you really today, whether you know it or not, you really did a perfect balance of Black mental wealth. Like a lot of the philosophy that that exuded out of you was really a good mindset to obtain wealth. And as you started out, it's not all just about the green and the money. It's a part of it, but it's not all about that.
Right.
Closing statement, sir. And don't slay us too bad. Don't lay us out on the floor and all that. Just let us down easy off this flight.
Yeah, no, I just encourage everybody to, you know, continue to push through your journey. We all have our own journeys and there's no journey alike, and trust that what's meant for you will always be for you. Continue to be patient and push through. You know, Sean Brown got on here, and you know, he always says,
ruthless.
You know, there's a difference between, you know, what do you say? Difference between commitment and interest.
Yeah,
huge.
And this is more than. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, and that's major. And you know, just take it and be 1% better every single day. You do that, you stay consistent in anything that you're doing, you're going to be successful. Every failure is a lesson learned. So go through as many failures as possible. Just learn how to pivot from them. You know, definitely take that formula of strategy, beginning, middle, and end. always revamp the middle, pivot to get the different results, and that's how we're gonna continue to build these legacies for our individual selves and collectively.
You articulate it just as a matter of fact and so simply, bro. And I know it comes from years of learning and whatnot. I appreciate you. One other thing I'll end with this, Sean is in the room, is he taught me this concept of ruthless self-examination. And I will say and end with this, that brother, from a business entrepreneur standpoint, you definitely challenged the brother. I'm like, I'm going to get off of here. There was somebody from the team actually calling me now, and I'm like, oh Jesus. And so I appreciate you, man. I really, really do. Give your dad my best. Probably won't remember the little knucklehead that was skating around Shea Woo's in this life. But man, I appreciate you. I want you to come back, folks. There is Royce's website. There is his email address.
Yes.
And reach out to him and hire him and check in with him, because I can guarantee you that your business and your dream and even a creative, I can't wait, bro. I need to hurry up and do my end of the year stuff so I can figure out budget and talk with you a little bit. I appreciate you, man. And don't forget, everybody, to reach out to this brother. Go to the website, check him out, and we're going to have him back soon. Royce, I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. Love and blessings.
Yes, sir. This was dope, brother. Thank you.
No problem.
Folks, was the great, awesome. And I started to put in the advertisement earlier, I started to put the Royce Veal, but just I had a feeling of his cadence and he probably wouldn't appreciated that. And so this was dope. Tag entrepreneurs, tag folks that are trying to switch into having their own business, because there was some foundational nuggets there that will definitely help you. And I wish I had them as I'm morphing into this business. And speaking of business and entrepreneurs, go to javawithjimmy.com, go to the shop page where you can get a hoodie, where you can get a candle or two, and you can also get a love mug. Here's the love mug. We have chocolate in it. These are going out this weekend in time for you. They're being dropped off or going out in time for you for Valentine's Day. And also, don't forget that Java with Jimmy has our exclusively Jimmy curated design candles with the double wood wicked. And I can tell, first of all, I've been burning it, and it's good. It's good. It's really good. And I'm not saying that just because it's on my website. Like, I'm saying that like that because I did it and it came out so good. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in today. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And April, she's going to kill me because I just remember her. Hold on for 1 second. I made a mistake and let me get off of here. I looked at my email. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. There's a young sister that's been dealing with some housing issues. And I seen her post on Facebook and just the self-advocacy and things she's dealing with. I told her for Testimony Tuesday to come and share with us. So she'll be with us tomorrow morning. I'll put a flyer out later. Thank you all for tuning in today. And we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Shout out to Royce. Thank you, brother, for coming in.